Hello all, welcome to my channel Tech Farmer Shrikant. So this is Shrikant. So I've come up with an series Linux 02 Hero. In this series, we are going to learn about the Linux. So what is Linux and what is an operating system and the commands which are required for any software engineer to excel in his profession. Okay, so it's not about specific to an DevOps engineer, it's not about specific to an automation engineer or any release engineer, and it's not about an any techno developer or support engineer or MQ, anything. It's irrespective of the technology. Okay, so this Linux course can be used. Okay, so it's a 3 days series of lecture. It's not okay. So this training in the day one we cover about what is Linux and what is operating system. Okay, and few important piece what are the parts or what of operating system. Okay, so we'll see the high level understanding of OS and as well as the Linux. Okay, then we have come up with a few commands. Okay, just as the day one starts, right? So we are going to cover theory as well as the few commands, the basic commands, okay, like listing and all. So if you see this, right, so this git repo I'll be sharing, okay, in the description. Okay, and where it contains, if you open the day one folder, right, it contains theory, fundamentals.md, and commands, right? So commands. Okay, so these are the basic things I'm going to cover for day one. And day two, right? So day two is also, I'm going to cover more commands here. Okay, and if anything required in theory, so I'll be covering in another theory. So you can find two files, okay, in each and every day. Okay, and the final day of day three, so I'll be going to conclude here, right? So what you are going to get, right, as the end user, so you'll be getting, so what you will get confidence about Linux, you will get confidence about Linux commands. Okay, so and you'll be able to solve any issues, like you can play with the Linux. Okay, so this is how fully about the Linux 02 Hero series. Okay, so let's come back. Okay, we'll begin with the day one, right? So day one, this is the day first day. So we'll talk basically with what is Linux, okay, and what prerequisite. Okay, Shrikant, if you have a question like Shrikant, is there any prerequisite for this course? Okay, so let's talk that also, so that it will be clear for everyone, right? So okay, so if you ask me this question, I'll say, right, no, there is no prerequisite for this series. Okay, so any non-IT people who are going to start his professional career to IT, so he can be also go through this course, right? An internal technology switch. Okay, and there are I say, as again I want to say, so it is a foundation for any software engineer. Okay, so irrespective of the technology, so there is no prerequisite defined for this course. Okay, and you can just go through the videos and you can practice in your environment, right? So and the prerequisite, when I'm saying, I'm going to use a server, Linux server of AWS, so you can provision AWS server EC2 and you can use it as a lab. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So this is the prerequisite. Okay, yeah, then okay, so then come to what is Linux, right? Now we are going to discuss what is Linux. Okay, okay, so what is Linux? If we talk about what is Linux, so Linux is similar to an the Mac OS or Windows OS which we are referring, right? So it is quite similar to that. Okay, so there is no much difference in that. So if you say, just like iOS or Mac OS, any OS, right? So it's Linux an operating system. In fact, it's one of the major platforms or which is being used nowadays. Okay, so it's nothing but an okay. So let me take a text here. So if I talk what is Linux, right? So I'm defining it as it is an operating system, an operating system, right? So it's I can denote by OS, right? So now, okay, Shrikant, it's good. You're telling some other name OS. What is OS, right? Okay. So yeah, OS is nothing but it's a software that manages all the hardware required associated with your desktop or laptop. Okay, it's a software which manages all the hardware in your system. Okay, simply this the software, right? This OS software communicates with your hardware things and get your actions done. This is just like an example. If you take an example in real life, so it's about human being or okay, for example, okay, human being brain. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So let's how brain is not something like an OS operating system. So if you want to do anything, if I want to raise my hand, who's sending signal to my hardware? Hardware in sense my hand. So from the brain, right? So brain is my operating system. It instructs, okay, it sends some signals to my hand. Hey, raise your hand. Okay, it's raised. Similarly, while I'm talking, right? So I'm getting instruction from my brain, right? Then only I'm able to do an action, which means speaking, right? Even if you want to sit, if you want to run, if you want to do anything, even anything, any action you perform physically or mentally, so it's without involvement of your brain, there is nothing, right? In that contrast, I want to highlight, right? So without any operating system, the software wouldn't function, right? You people agree with me, right? So without OS, software or a system will not work, right? How I'm saying this one based on the example which I've given. But without brain, does a human being able to do his activities? Mean, is a normal person? No, right? So without a brain, the person will not be exist. I mean, he's not is like no more. Like he's not able to do his own work, right? So from this, we want to understand OS is the major and important in any system or a laptop. Okay. Okay, now we are clear what is Linux and what is OS. Okay, now just take a minute and we'll discuss about what are the components or pieces of an OS, operating system. Okay, we are not going to deep dive it. Okay, just we'll have high level understanding, right? So the first component, I let's say like sorry, bootloader. Okay, I will have discussion of one word of what is bootloader, right? So whenever you turn on your laptop, okay, you will get a splash screen, right? So that process it will boot your system. So that process is called a bootloader. Okay. So then second piece of your operating system is kernel. So kernel is one of the major or like it's at the heart of the OS. So what it will do is it will manage the system like CPU, memory, and external devices, and it's a low level of low your OS, lowest level of OS. Okay, right? So when I say about this OS, right? So I can have some tutorial on this, right? So let's have some software here, right? Okay. So this is software. So what I'm going to do is, so kernel. This is your kernel, right? So and here this is your hardware. Okay. So this is like to and fro, to and fro. Yeah. So when I say about this is software, as for software, this is kernel, and this is hardware. Okay, so for example, let's select this software, right? So whenever it want to do something, the software will send signals to kernel. Okay, so kernel, what kernel do, it will talk with hardware and it will provide whatever the information it requires by software. So it's like managing or it's coordinating the things, right? So that's why I'm saying right, kernel is the most important. Okay, maybe in the hardware components, maybe let's like or let's say it may be of CPU. Okay, it may be a what we call memory. Okay, it may be a, you can, so what else you can say, external devices, so that are connected to your what we can say, your system. Okay, yeah. So this is about kernel, right? So hope it's clear. So what I, okay, then next we'll have one more thing is called, okay, okay, so next thing is like init system. So init system is something like it's a part of bootstrapper. Okay, it's like subsystem of bootstrapper. Okay, it's something related to system D, you can call it system D, which is also happens one of the, okay, that manage the boot process. Okay, init system something related to the part of subsystem of bootloader. Okay, and what is we can have next component is daemon. Okay, daemon is something like the backend or background process. So whenever, right, when you people often listening, oh, some background process is running, so that's come under daemon. So what is daemon is the deep, there are called the background process such as sound, okay, scheduling, okay, or printing, any other process which are running on the background. Okay, so that's about daemon. And then this is graphical graphical server. Okay, so graphical server, this is a subsystem that displays the graphics on your monitor. Basically, it's used for representations. Okay, next we'll talk about desktop environment. So desktop env something, it is nothing bad. Okay, okay, so okay, just a second, just give me a second. Yeah, okay. So so since we are discussing about, right, okay, yeah. So now what we are discussing is like the graphical desktop environment. Basically, this is something when you have your laptop for the first time, so it contains the default applications running on that. For example, maybe you can say like you have the applications in your Chrome browser, okay, and built-in application like file manager, web browsers or games. Okay, and finally we have the applications. So application is nothing but if you want to install any other applications on top of the existing applications, so we'll having this. Okay, so this is the like components of OS, operating system, right? So I hope it is very clear. Okay, yeah, so let's erase this one. Okay, yeah, so now, yeah, whatever I have taught you, right, so I have clearly explained here. So what is Linux, what is operating system, bootloader, and daemon graphics. Okay, yeah. So again, come to why we use Linux. So you may have the questions in your mind, right? So we have Windows and we have Mac OS and we have many things. Then again, why we are going for Linux? So then I have explained here, posing one question to like the people, right? So so do you have the operating system that is really fine, like with security issues and virus threats and malwares, okay, slowdowns, crashes? These are the, like we have many things, right? So when you talk about something, so maybe OS, right? So when we are discussing about OS, so maybe we can say security, okay, virus, next slowness, crash. Okay, so there are many criterias. Okay, performance. So there are many criteria if you see here, right? So sorry, yeah, malware citizen. So Linux is one of the most effective and optimal and cost. It's free. It's open source basically. So that's what we are going for Linux. That's right, right? So zero cost of entry as you are free, you can install. And when you talk about Windows, right? So Windows, for you need to buy a license. I'm just comparing with the Windows. It's not about, okay. So Windows, it's basically depends upon the requirement. We are going for the OS, right? So basically we may go sometimes to the Linux. We may have Windows. We may have Mac OS. So it's not nothing like only one OS we are going to use. Okay. So I start like what I'm saying here is, so based on the requirement, we are going for the operating system, choosing operating system. So Linux is no cost, right? So it's open source. When as Windows, we need permissions or license need to be purchased from Microsoft. Okay. So in that case, so as a beginner or want to learn a self-learner, then it's obviously you will be going for the Linux. Okay. And as I said, it's an open source. Yeah, open source obviously, so anyone can download and use cost of free of cost. So and coming to right, so you will be hearing Linux, Ubuntu, Unix, and many other things, right? CentOS, Red Hat. So these are the distributions, okay, or versions of Linux. So nowadays people, most of the people will be using Red Hat Enterprises, Red Ubuntu, CentOS, and so these are the distributions, okay. So that just don't get confused, and there will be no much difference at all on the servers, right? So there is no much difference at all, like the distribution, the commands will like some command is some ls commands, or let's say like listing of the same command will be holds for every distribution. There is minor difference, okay. So here these are the top distributions among hundreds, okay. And which distribution is right for you? So so which distribution is right for you based on the requirement? If you are a beginner, if you want to learning something, then you will be using this one. And if your customer requirements or client requirements, maybe you're using Red Hat applications, then obviously we need to go for Red Hat or version. So that's based on the purely on the customer interest or the requirements which is sent by architect level. So decision that varies. Okay. Yeah. Hope this is clear. Okay. Let's do small practice. Let's. So I've covered the theory. Then we'll move for just basic commands. Okay. Okay. Maybe you will get right. As it's maybe I'm just telling as a low level. So why comments or commands? Why we are going for commands, right? So we have the operating system. So if you want to talk with an operating system, let's say like okay, Linux. I have Linux operating system. I want to talk. I want to talk with this. Okay. I want to talk this, and I want to say display the files or directories you have in particular directory, particular folder. So I should display it. Okay, I display something. So I'm from, let's like I'm from Telugu, Telangana. Then I know the language. Okay, mother tongue. So Telugu, and I can know that English. I know some other language as well. So I can able to, this is a way of communicating. Then if I want to talk with Tamil people, then I'll be talking with Tamil in Tamil language. Okay. If I want to talk with the other foreign language, maybe English, I can use English. So there is a medium of communication and type of communication or language we are using, basically language. Okay. So now, okay, so how I'm going to communicate with this laptop which is containing, or system or server which is containing Linux OS? How I'm going to communicate? It's a question, right? So I'm going to communicate with them. Okay, I'm going to communicate so with commands. Okay, I'm going to communicate with commands. So basically the Linux commands. So with these commands, I can talk with, I can say whatever I want to this Linux server, and this Linux server will perform or will give whatever I have asked for. So that's why we are going to learn the commands. Hope it is clear. Right. So let me start. Let me log into. This is my EC2 server. Hope everyone knows how to create an EC2 server. If not, I'll create. Just follow on the same playlist. You can follow. You can check the channel how to create an EC2 instance. Okay, just by default things. Okay. So just let me log in. Just take a. Let me log into my server. Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I have logged in. I'm logging to my user. Okay. Clear. Just don't get confused. I have the server. So this is the server. Have logged in with my username Shrikant, and this is the host name. Okay, just keep it as host name is nothing but a name of the server. Okay, we'll discuss more it clearly. So as I'm saying today, what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to learn these basic commands listing the files and directories. Okay, so what is listing the files and directories, right? I'll show you in Windows, then you will get a contrast and you can learn what is what in. Okay, so in I mean in Linux, okay, or you can understand what is there in, I mean what I'm talking, then it will be easy for you. But just don't worry here. Okay, so now, yeah, let's take laptop. This is a file manager, right? So this is a file manager. I'm clicking on it. Yeah, so it is opening up. Okay, so right, I'm in Windows. Okay, I'm in Windows. I can see two folders, AnyDesk or Captures, right? So what are these two folders? I'm able to view because it's a graphical interface. So where I can open it, I can see, right? So in server, it's not a graphical, right? So you can check. I need to check whether where it is. Okay. Then what I should do is I need to list it. This list is nothing but displayed. So I can do just ls. Okay. So ls, it is showing that there is something, one directory here. Okay. So ls will show something. I'm not sure whether it is a file or a directory. Then how I'm going to know Sri is a, okay, you may be confused. Directory, what is directory? In Linux or Linux terminology, we will call folder as directory. Okay, so don't get confused, right, guys? So here, so what I'm referring is, okay, yeah, what is the issue? Okay, so here folder is nothing but directory. Okay, folder is nothing but a directory. Okay, this is clear. So I'll be using a directory. Okay, file is file. I mean folder is, if you say, right. So if you see here, this is directory. So if I open this, it will have some files or something. Okay, it is empty now, but okay. So this is also empty. So this is a directory. Okay, in Windows we'll call as folder, but in Linux we'll call as a directory, right? So here, by seeing hit, right, by seeing ls is nothing but command to display or list. Okay, so I'm not knowing whether it is a directory or file, but I have another command. So maybe I'll use ls hyphen, okay, l. So ls hyphen l, which not we are using an optional which gives more information. Okay, listing. So what I'm going to do is, see, if you see here, right, so it is displaying full details of the directory. So this is the directory, and how I am telling, like, so if you see here, right, so starting with d is denotes a directory, means which is d is nothing but a I mean folder. Okay, just leave all these things. Okay, and Sri is the name of the directory folder name. Okay, now let me create a file. Okay, it's not part of this topic, but I'm going to create one empty file, name of same name. Okay, then you will get clarity. So now, okay, let me create, one file, empty file. Okay, yeah. So let me clear the screen. Now I have two things. If you observe my screen, I have one DevOps and Stream. Now, if with ls command, I'm not able to distinguish between the or difference between the dev or what is directory, which is directory and which is a file. So I have given an option ls-l, which denotes or which brings the difference between the directory and a file. So if you see here, right, so D is nothing but a directory, that is tree is a directory, and DevOps is a file. How I am saying it is a file, so here it should starts with like this. So as a beginner, as of now, just understand how to distinguish a file and a directory. If it starts with D, that particular name is that particular it is called a directory, and if it starts with like hyphen, it is a file. Okay, that's clear. So then what I have given, so as a day one, yeah, ls-lrt is nothing but, yeah, let's try this and we'll understand what is that. Okay, ls-lrt. Yeah, so ls-lrt. So since it's like I have added extra two things like rt, reverse of time. So the newly created stuff will come at the down, and see if you see, right, so it's created newly, and if you observe, right, let me explain. This is related to file permissions and user group. Okay, and this is size, and this is the date, and this is time. Okay, so let me know if you want to know the system time, right? So I'll be using command called date, that is Tuesday, December 6. If you observe here, right, Tuesday, December 6, 10 UTC time 2023. So which is early, so 10:25, I mean 10:05 is the early, so it is displaying that time. Okay, let me again just list it. So this one is created just before, and this is a recent creation, that's why we are able to see this one, right? So that is ls-lrt. So this command is useful when you have many applications and you want to know which one modified recently, then you will able to find this command ls-lrt. Okay, and there is other command. So if you want to see the hidden files, which, okay, so you need to add hyphen a. So hidden files nothing but starts with the dot, right? So these are the hidden files. Okay, I mean you will be seeing hidden files along with hidden, I mean you will be seeing normal line hidden files. Okay, yeah, that's clear. So what I'm yeah, so yeah, ll is some similar one. So ll, okay, it is similar to ls-l, and but it also, what it will do, it will also list the hidden files or directories. Okay, so based on your requirement, so I have told you all which are just for listing, and date I have told you to check the time. Okay, and date. So, and see, now I want to know where I am. Okay, so let's say like now I am in screenshots. Okay, now I am in pictures and screenshots, right? Here the same way I want to know where I am in server. Then what the command I want to do, let me clear the screen, guys. Why I'm clearing, right? To clear the screen I'm using clear command. Okay, So why? Because it will be somewhat easier, right? So always you don't need to look at down. Okay. So this is a command pwd. So right. So it will displays where I am in. Okay, in which directory I am in, right? P present, W for working, and D for directory. Present working directory. Okay, which means it will denotes where I am in, where I am currently working, which directory I am in, which directory instance, which folder I am in. Okay, got it. Okay, this is I'm just going in slow, and in the second we have in next day we have planned many commands. Okay, I'm almost covering 60 to 70 commands in a series. Okay, which are daily I mean helpful. So now check who is the logged in user. Okay, so I want to check. I forgot it. Maybe if you see this right, I am no, but I know like Srikanth is a logged in user, but in some cases there will be with not with the name, okay, maybe with some ID. Then I want to know who am I, right? So it shows Srikanth. Okay, so I'm the user. Okay, and that's why I said right, if I'm with this name, you can, if I'm with my employee or some other employee, sometimes I'm forgot and some other user also using my screen, then at that time, so you want to know with which user I have logged in, then we'll be using this command who am I. And now, so wanted to know who and all logged into the server, right? So except us, so Ubuntu also, I mean he is also, I mean default user logged into the server, right? Yeah. Okay, so I have covered all the things. Since it is the first day, or I'm just having hands-on, I mean theory as well as a little hands-on. Okay, so I want to just wrap up the things. So we have just started what is understanding what is Linux, and what is OS, and what the parts of OS. Okay. Okay, then why we use Linux for and it's an open source, and we have also seen distributors, the I mean distributions. Okay, so based on the things, I mean the distribution will be used. Again, we went for the commands, just basic commands, listing date tw. So these are few commands for today. Okay, if you open the day folder, fundamentals and commands, and day 2 also will be having two parts. So for each and every day we'll have two like files. One is theory or fundamentals and commands. Okay, so in the end of by end of this 3 days class or 3 days session, so you'll be able to have at least 60 to 70 commands in your hand, so that you can master yourself and you can upskill, or you can have the confidence in Linux. So those are the commands which are generally being used in a day-to-day activities. Okay, so that's it. I'll be sharing this repo link in the description. Yeah, so thank you guys. Yeah, we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.